Silver Soldier Anby will be releasing soon. With her release, the question on everyone's minds are, is she good? Should you pull for her? Who are her teammates? And how should you build her? In this video, I'll be answering all those questions and showcasing Anby's kit for all of you to see. I do want to note, all footage recorded is from the Zenless Zone 0 creator experience server. Things are subject to change, like the damage numbers and some other things, but everything else should be set in stone. With that all out of the way, let's get straight into it. So to start with, her name in-game is Soldier Anby. She's an electric attack type character, and she does scale off crit. I'm just going to go through her menus real quick and you can watch. As you can see, she has some very smooth animations, as you can see here and here. I do like her dress. She looks very nice. As you can see, I am running a new disk drive set. So there are 2 new disk drive sets that actually come out with Silver Soldier Anby. And as you can see here, it's basically meant for her. It's called Shadow Harmony. And I'll just read off the effects real fast. The damage of aftershocks and dash attacks are increased by 50%. Anby does a lot of dash attacks and aftershocks, so it's like pretty good with her. And if you don't want to read this, all it really means is that for every aftershock or dash attack that Anby does, she'll gain attack and crit rate. Really, really good set. It's basically a passive 4% crit rate increase. And at 3 stacks, you'll have 12%. So you can have up to 12% more crit rate on Anby. And yes, Anby does scale off crit. Now here is her W engine. Her signature W engine gives her crit damage, so you really don't have to worry too much about crit damage. On top of the 48 crit damage you get from her main stats, you actually get 30% more from her effect of the W engine. This W engine is really good as it's her signature W engine, obviously. But if you're looking for some other options, you can run Harumasa's W engine if you actually got that one. I don't think a lot of people did, but you could run it. For A-rank W engines, you can use Starlight Engine. It's really good, as it is for every other DPS out there. You can also use Gilded Blossom, or if you have Cannon Rotor, I would use Cannon Rotor as well. All very good options, but obviously her signature W engine is the best. So as you can see here, I am running a 2-piece Woodpecker Electro and a 4-piece Shadow Harmony. The reason I'm running Woodpecker Electro is just to get more crit rate, because she kind of needs it. As you can see, I have 73% crit rate, which is actually not accurate. So when you team up Anby with a stun type character or a support character, she actually gets 10% more crit rate. And that means that I actually have 83%. Plus I'm using Shadow Harmony. So whenever I get 3 stacks of the buff, I'll actually have 12% more crit rate, which means my max crit rate would be 95%, which is almost always critting. And that's pretty good if you ask me. She is M0. I kind of want to show this from a free-to-play standpoint. Anyway, let's get into the combat section of this. I do want to show off her skills and her abilities, as she's a very interesting and in-depth character. Alright, so first off, as you can see, when you have her signature W engine, her thing on her back actually glows, and her hair also glows. It's actually pretty cool. Normally, if you don't have your W engine, it would not glow, and she would just have silver hair, but I think it's a really nice touch. Alright, so the core component of Anby's kit is this mark that she applies when she hits a target. So when I hit this enemy, I'll apply a mark onto the enemy. So watch this. As you can see there's a mark on the target. And basically what this mark is like a meter. As you can see, when I attack the enemy, the bar will fill up. So if I just use some basic attacks here, as you can see, the bar fills up. So when you fill the bar up to full, it'll look like this. And so when you tap your EX special, it'll actually do a different attack when your bar is filled. So when you tap your EX special, it'll actually get rid of one of these bars. So I'm just gonna do it here real quick and you can see. There you go. And basically you can do that up to 3 times. 1, 2. Now that's actually just tapping her EX special. As you can see, when the bar is not filled, she does not dash through the enemy. So here's an EX special without the bar filled at all. As you can see. And now with the bar filled to a certain point, if you tap E, she'll do a dash attack. Now she's very interesting because her EX special actually fills the gauge up to full if you hold it. And that's actually how you spend her energy. So I'm just going to hold her EX special here. As you can see, it fills up to full, and then you can just tap E 3 times. But yeah, that's basically how her kit works. You just fill up the gauge, use her EX special, and then tap 3 times. 3 times, there you go. And you do it again. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Now, I'm going to show off the ultimate animation real fast. And the thing with her ultimate as well, it will actually fill the mark up to full as well. So I'm just going to use her ultimate. And as you can see, the bar fills up all the way to full. And now that begs the question, how should you play her? And in my opinion, she kind of leans more towards a burst type DPS character. Ones that use like stun window, right? So if I was to get a stun character real fast, I'm just going to stun the enemy with Chingy here. And then I will chain attack into Anby. And as I chain attack into Anby, I will do her EX special, mark 3 times, do her EX special again, 1, 2, 3, ult. And then tap E again. Just like that. I'm going to show this one more time with damage. So I'm just going to stun the enemy here. And then I'm going to go into Anby. I'm going to EX special first. And then 1, 2, 3, ult. And then tap again. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Now, I'm going to actually do this again. I'm going to compare it to not stunning the enemy at all. So I'm going to mark the enemy first, and then I would do the same exact combo I just did to an unstunned enemy. So I hold my EX special, tap, 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 ult, and then tap, tap, tap again. 1, 2, 3. And yeah, it's not like a big deal, but she's definitely much more useful in a burst window, I think. I do generally think you can run her as a more on-field type of character, but you can also kind of run her as a very burst type DPS, as like only go into her in the stun windows kind of thing. I do think Anby can be used on-field a lot more, but in that case, you'd be using more res pen type characters, more like Rina, give her more res pen, like with Puffer Electro, rather than using Thunder Metal or the crit rate drive. All right, so moving on to the team section, Anby actually has a decent amount of options. So as you can see here, I am running Anby with Pultra and then Astra Yao. This team's really good as Pultra is really made for dash type characters, aftershock characters, kind of like what Anby is. And Astra Yao is just a very good support. She's quite literally the best support currently in the game. She can be used with any team because she's just that broken. This is probably a team a lot of people will run until more support units come out for Soldier Zero. When I was testing team compositions, this team actually did very well compared to other teams, but there are a lot of other viable options, which I'm going to actually show right here. Another team could be Anby, Qingyi, and Astra Yao. Qingyi's there just for stun plus the multiplier. She's the best stunner currently. Astra Yao's the best support, and then Anby for burst. Another team I had success with was actually a Mono Electric team. It was actually really good in some content, but I don't think it's as good as using either of these two comps up here. And of course, running Astra Yao with 2 DPS has always been the standard, so I tried running Anby with Eve, and surprisingly, this comp is actually very good. When Anby isn't on the field, Eve is on the field doing damage, and when Eve isn't on the field, Anby's doing damage. This does require Anby being more of a consistent type of DPS with more res pen, as this team doesn't have a stunner. Here's another team. This is more of a free-to-play friendly option. You have Anby, Pultra, and Lucy. Lucy is a good buffer in general. She's always has been, and yeah, this is a Sons of Caledon type of team. And yeah, this is just one of the teams that you would run because you're running Pultra, right? And if you want to run a team with more survivability, I'd run something like this with Caesar. Very good, very good. But currently, I'd say this team right here is probably her best team. I'm going to showcase real fast what Pultra does. I'm going to go into more detail in a different video probably, but I do want to show her synergy with Anby. Pultra is more of a follow-up type character. She thrives a lot more off of other characters. So basically, you just use her skill, and then you'll swap off of her, and then Anby will use her EX special, and she'll just synergize very well, like that. Ultra does a lot of dash attacks, and it's kind of connected to her bar, as you can see in the top left right here. And basically, all you do is you use Astra. For this team specifically, you use Astra. You go into Anby, get the buff for Anby, and then you'll switch to Pultra. You'll use her EX special, or you'll chain attack any way to get this bar up, basically. So you'll use it, and then you'll switch back to Anby, and then you'll use your EX special, and you'll just have a lot of aftershock / dash attacks. It's really nice. And the gameplay loop for this is just you gain the stacks on Pultra, and then you go back to Anby, and then you just rinse and repeat. And the reason Astra is actually really good with this composition as well is that when you use Astra's ultimate, of course she sings, obviously, but the fact that her quick assist actually acts as a chain attack is one of the best things about her kit. Currently with Pultra, because when you use the chain attack with Pultra, her bar gains back, and then you can switch back to Anby, and then you could do the follow-up attacks. Really, really nice. Yeah, and that's basically it for her teams. All of the Astra teams kind of play the same. You kind of go in and out with both DPS / stunners, but really you do want to make sure that you just have a stunner on your team as Anby strives off having a stunner. Now I'm just going to go into this Notorious Hunt real fast to show off this team. This team is really, really good, actually. So this is an electric weak enemy. I just want to show off how fast you can actually kill the boss. So I apply the buff with Ultra, I get hit, and bam, 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 bam. Look at all that damage. That's without Astra because I forgot to use her. Go into Pultra, use her EX special, switch back to Anby, and then use her EX special as well. Like all that damage. Use her EX special again, right here. Back to Anby. As you can see, yeah, she kind of just shreds through really fast. Switch back to Anby again. 1, 2, 3. Use her ultimate. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she just does so much damage. Here's Poltra's ultimate for anyone that wants to see that. Back to Anby. Their EX again. Fire! There we go. And yeah, I mean, that was decently fast. Notorious hunts are a little more difficult, but I did it in 1 minute and 23 seconds. It's actually my fastest run. Other teams might take longer, but this team is pretty good. Now, I'm going to compare that team with the Evelyn team, actually. I won't bore you guys because, I mean, it's kind of the same content. I'll see you guys back here when I kill it. All right, and I think this one was actually faster. Yeah, it was. Wow, 1 minute and 13 seconds. So this team is also actually very good. The reason this team is so good is just because, like, Evelyn does so much damage on her own already, but putting in Anby as well makes them always have uptime on damage. This is a very good premium comp. But yeah, with, like, her EX specials and stuff like that, you'll always have some kind of uptime with Evelyn because Evelyn goes into her EX specials on a different pace. And she has combos, so she can stay out longer. Swapping back and forth with Astra makes this a very, very strong comp, and you should not sleep on this comp at all. I'm also going to quickly show off her Mindscapes. Obviously, I don't have these unlocked, as I want to keep this as free-to-play friendly as possible. So I'm just going to quickly go over these. Her M1, Static Charge, it's basically just more damage when you use her EX special. This is really nice, but I don't think it's a game changer. Her M2, though, that's a game changer. On top of 12% crit rate, whenever she uses her ultimate, she gains 6 stacks of something called Thunder's Cry, and that's basically the mark that you saw on the enemy, and that'll allow you to do Anby's dash attack 6 more times than usual. This basically means you have 9 EX special attacks when you use her ultimate. That basically means you have 9 dash attacks when you use Anby's ultimate. That is insane. That is so much damage. And if you're going for duplicate copies of Anby, this is definitely one you need to pick up. This is probably her best Mindscape. Onto her M3, it's just stat increases. M4, this just gives Anby 12% res pen. Really, really nice, as she can actually hit multiple people with her Silver Star, which is the mark that you see on the enemies. Her M5, that's more stat increase, and then her M6, for any of the Giga Whales, this is insane. So you know how we were talking about using her ultimate to gain 6 more stacks of the dash attack? Well, this basically just does more damage on top of the dash attack once you use all 6 stacks, and it's considered aftershock, so this is like giga good. You just have so much damage, and like when you run with her Mindscapes, you do play her more on field than you would do like as a burst type character. I feel like the reason I say that is because of her M2, and yeah, these are all really good. In my own opinion, if you really like Anby, go for her M2. It's broken, but if you're free to play and you just really want her, I just go for her W engine. Her W engine is kind of nuts. You know, 48% crit damage plus another 30%, literally 78% crit damage just from her W engine. It is way more valuable than getting her M1. Infinitely more valuable. For disk drive sets as well, if you have enough crit rate, which I think about like, I want to say in the ballpark of 75 to 80% from the base stats page. If you have like 75 to 85%, you do not need to run Woodpecker Electro. You could probably run something like Puffer Electro for res pen, or you could run Thunder Metal for more electric damage. But definitely run her Shadow Harmony set, as it's her best hit slot. So after using her, I kind of realized she is really, really good. Do I think she's as good as someone like Miyabi? I'd say so. I don't think she does as much damage as Miyabi, because I'm going to be real, no one can do as much damage as Miyabi, let's be real. But she is definitely a very strong character. And I do predict in the future we'll get more support for Anby. So not only will she do more damage with more supports that she gets, but she's definitely going to be a strong character for a long time, as most characters are still. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next video.